Let's talk about compound interest with the TI-30Xa calculator. Now, the TI-30Xa is a little bit different than other calculators, so it's a little bit more button pushing, but we're going to go through step by step. So first, let's just talk about the question. You deposit $6,000 at 3.5% compounded monthly for 8 years. How much is in the account after 8 years? Well, before we start plugging into a calculator, let's identify our important information. So first, we deposit $6,000. So our principal is $6,000. We're at 3.5%, so our rate, change it to a decimal, 0.035. We're compounding monthly. That means N, the number of compounding in a year, is 12. And we've done this for 8 years. So how much is in the account after 8 years? Well, recall, compound interest is A equals P times the quantity, 1 plus R over N raised to the N times T power. So when I plug in my numbers, I get A equals 6,000 times 1 plus 0.035 over 12 raised to the 12 times 8 power. Not necessarily a difficult formula, but one that can cause problems when we're talking about a calculator. So let's move over to the TI-30Xa calculator. When you go to do this, you're going to need to do it in steps. But the beautiful part is you never have to clear your calculator. So really, well, I guess after the first step, the very first thing we need to do is we need to calculate our exponent. So first thing I want you to do is take 12 times 8. That's a horrible color. Let's get one we can see here. 12 times 8, which gives us 96. So our exponent has a value of 96. That's kind of step one. Then we say, okay, we are ready. We start with the place inside the parentheses. Basically, we're talking about order of operations here. So type in your calculator, 1 plus 0.035 divided by 12, hit the equal button. You should see in your calculator 1.002916667. Leave it. Just leave that in your calculator. Then you're going to hit the Y to the X button. Mine is right here, right above the division sign. So again, leave that big long number in your calculator. Hit Y to the X, and then your exponent, which is 96, and hit enter again. This will now yield a 1.322590692. Leave that in your calculator. Then hit times, our multiplication button, times 6,000. When you do that and hit equals, you get the answer of 7,935.54 cents. So thinking about the steps here. Step 1, calculate the exponent. Calculate the exponent. Step 2 says inside parentheses. Step 3, take to the exponent. So we're applying the exponent. And then step 4, multiply by the number in front. You have to do it in these steps. You have to hit the equal sign in between. Your calculator needs the order of operations. Okay? You can do this with parentheses, but because you can't see what you're typing in where, it gets very crazy. Let's try another one. You deposit $500 at 3% compounded daily for 6 years. How much you got? Okay, first things first, let's write our formula. A equals principal times 1 plus 0.03, there's my rate, divided by 365, because this is daily, and then raised to the 365 times 6. Once you have your formula written out, now we can do our steps. Step 1, 365 times 6 gives me an exponent of 2190. All right, so my exponent is the same as 2190. Now I'm ready for calculator. 1 plus 0.03 divided by 365. I hit my equal sign. I get 1.000082192. I then hit y to the x. Again, that's right above the division sign. Y to the x, my exponent is 2190. I hit equals and I get 1.197208507. And then I hit times 500. So use that times sign. 500 is the number out front. And that gives me my answer of $598.60. So $598.60 is my final answer.